Well, thank you first and foremost to all of you for being here, and it's been an exciting. You guys may not think so. I think it's been an exciting 9 to 10 days, and it's been a great search process. And as I said earlier, it really reaffirmed for me as a director of athletics what the perception is outside of this state for this basketball program. And every coach I talked to, whether they were interested in this position or they were talking to me about someone that had an interest in this position, they identified this quickly as one of the top programs, or what should be a top program in the SEC, and what should be a top 20 program year in and year out. And was excited the first time I had an opportunity to talk to Coach Musselman on the phone, and could sense his energy and his passion for the game of basketball, and his energy and his passion for developing young men both on and off the court, and also his energy and his passion to be here at the University of Arkansas and to be the leader of our basketball program. And he embraced the history that is Razorback basketball, and he wanted to be a part of that history and that tradition as our head coach. And this is a job he wanted, and that was important to me for someone that really wanted to be here and wanted to take this program to the next level as we move forward. So with that, we'll open it up, I guess, for questions.
All right, if you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone. We'll start over here with Trey.
This is for both of you guys. First of all, congratulations, Coach.
Thank you.
Could you just walk us through the timeline a little bit about when that first phone call was made, and then the first interview, and then how things went from there, both
Sure.
of your accounts?
I mean, it's roughly a weekend or so ago that John Fagg and I spoke to Coach's agent, and then we reached out to him a week ago today by way of a phone call, and then we traveled to Reno to visit with Coach and his family in his home last Tuesday, and then officially offered him this position verbally on Friday, and then we completed the contract over the course of the day on Saturday, and of course the announcement yesterday.
Again, we'll just take questions for Coach at this point, and we'll get Hunter in a little bit.
Yeah, this is for Eric. I watched the video you meeting with the players last night. How'd you feel like that went? And also, if I heard right, you said there's enough talent in here right now to go to the NCAA tournament. That's obviously putting a lot of pressure on yourself. What makes you feel that way? How much film have you watched of these guys? And what caused you to say that? Because a lot of coaches, I don't think, would have said that.
Well, first of all, you know what I said. I believe that Coach Anderson's done a great job accumulating talent. So many great young pieces. And, you know, a lot of the guys just finished up their freshman year, and usually players make great leaps, you know, after their freshman year going into their sophomore season. And, you know, we feel like we have to set high goals. We knew it was going to get out. You know, there was a camera there, so it wasn't anything that I wouldn't say today. I mean, our goal is to make the tournament. You know, next season, and that should be our goal every single season. I mean, that's really how I feel, and I think that's how our players feel. I mean, they didn't flinch when we talked about it, and then later on, I got to kind of eat with them, and we talked more and more about how that can happen and what we have to do as a group between now and November.
How did you feel like the meeting went overall? Did anybody think they want to leave? They all want to stay?
Yeah, you know, as of right now. I'm like shocked at how happy, excited our guys are. I mean, I spent as much time as I could with them last night. It was kind of interesting. All the adults were upstairs, and I went immediately downstairs with the team. And I wanted to eat down there, and I wanted to spend as much time as I could with our players. And right now, I think they're excited. I think they're happy. I think they're looking forward to us starting out on the court as soon as sometime later this week, and so I don't anticipate anybody leaving. I think that we have guys that are happy.
Coach, so you mentioned to the players that you had broken each of their film down and stuff, and had an idea of you know where they need to improve and all that stuff. Is that something that you did just after you were hired, or is that something you did before going into the interview? And what kind of answers do you have for this roster also?
As soon as Hunter called, I started watching film. And I kind of basically locked myself in a room and just started watching as much game tape as I could to see what the talent was. And then also when Hunter and John came, I felt it was really important that I convey to them, my feelings on the team, and I wanted them to feel how excited I was about the job. And it's kind of easy just to go into an interview and just talk philosophically, but I wanted Hunter to know, like I'm really invested in this. And from the moment he made the first phone call, I don't know if there's, unless you sleep less than me, it's probably not humanly possible to watch as much tape as I had, until we had our first face-to-face meeting. And then I continued to watch as much tape as possible. And, I think it's my job and our staff's job to really watch an entire season of tape between now and the next month or so.
We'll go right in front of me in the front row.
Eric, first of all, congratulations to you. What are your initial thoughts on possibly bringing Scotty Thurman back as assistant? And then on top of that, what about some of the other former Razorbacks with coaching experience like Corliss?
Yeah, I think right now with our coaching staff is I really look forward to sitting down and meeting all the assistant coaches that were here last year, and we're still trying to figure everything out on what direction. But obviously, Scotty and all the guys have a great reputation amongst college basketball. So right now it's been a whirlwind for the last 48 hours, and I look forward to sitting down and spending time and picking all the guys' brains.
Over to our left, Matt.
You mentioned you've been here with LSU in the past. I wonder how much did that experience, having been here, did it make it easier or not to take the job? And then do you have any other previous experiences being here in Fayetteville?
I think that definitely that, coming into this building, that particular season, it was the last home game here. It was a big road game for us, and the crowd is not just the time that I was here, but when you're watching games on TV, the reputation of being one of the hardest places, in the country to win. Is one of the things that makes this job so attractive. Is the building's awesome, the facilities. I was blown away today going through the facilities. I could not believe it. I've never seen a college institution that has such incredible facilities, from the training room to the weight room to the practice court. It's kind of mind-boggling, and then you add in the fact that there's so much passion in this state for the Razorbacks. It's second to none in my opinion.
Go back over here to the right. First, Josh.
Coach, you have a real deep resume. You've obviously coached at the college level, the pro level, the NBA, international too. Haven't been in a Power 5 conference yet, though. Was that part? You spoke about challenges. Was that part of the interest for you? Was getting a chance to coach in a Power 5 conference?
Yeah, I think that when you're in the NBA, you're coaching against the Phil Jacksons and the Pat Rileys, and you're coaching against great coaches every night. And I've coached against Coach Calipari internationally when he was coaching the Dominican Republic, and certainly the opportunity to win really big is any coach in the country. And I think that's probably when Hunter made that phone call and you start diving into the rich tradition, and you can win big here in basketball. There's no question about it.
Go back down here, Nate.
Just from what I understand, you've had great success with transfers in Nevada. Does that philosophy change any when you have a state like Arkansas to recruit to and the area that you do?
I think so, without a doubt. When if there hasn't been a high school player within driving distance, really, where I was at my prior stop, that we recruited heavily, other than a couple guys that we did get. And for sure at Nevada, transfers have been a big part of our success there. But people don't talk enough about the freshmen that we did bring in. Lindsey Drew and Cameron Oliver in our first recruiting class were really what started the foundation. 2 incoming freshmen that were Pac-12 commits that came and played for us, and then last year we got a McDonald's All-American in Jordan Brown, and Nevada had not had a McDonald's All-American, and it was the first 5-star on campus, other than a local player, Luke Babbitt, several years before. So we feel like, I haven't been a head coach in college for 20 years, but to have a McDonald's All-American and 2 Pac-12 commits. We did recruit the high school, and we certainly feel that this state has an incredible amount of talent, some excellent coaches in this state, and we look forward to recruiting the state as heavily as we possibly can.
Coach, I spent a lot of prep work this week talking to Scotty Adebayo about you. You guys know each other very well, and he told me a lot of stuff about your energy, your passion for the game, that coaching's in your blood, and all the your organization, all the time you put in. I'm just wondering, is that part of the bloodlines being in a basketball family, or is that just unique to you and how you kind of came through the ranks at a young age? Is that just part of your makeup?
You know, I think just growing up in the household of a coach is you know, it's a different household, and I can, you know, when I was living in San Diego, I mean, I sat in Ray Kroc's suite basically 2 out of every 3 series that came, because my dad was best friends with Ballard Smith, who at that time was the president of the Padres. And I remember sitting at my kitchen table and hearing my dad talk to Paul Brown when we lived in La Jolla, California, and Paul Brown had retired from coaching in the NFL, and he talked about preparation for your first team meeting. And so I've just been exposed to so much, and when I wasn't coaching, after my experience with the NBA, I spent 3 years really studying the college game, and along with that, I spent some time with the Oakland Raiders. Michael Lombardi gave me an office there, and I spent a great deal of time studying how football practices were organized. And so I feel like, you know, one of the things that you have to do to coach at any level is you've got to be extremely organized, and then you don't have to have real long practices. And I told the guys last night, like, we're going to really work hard in a 2-hour segment. I don't want to have 3-hour practices. I don't want to burn you out mentally and physically, and I think you do that by being extremely organized.
Coach, question: when the dust settles and everything's taken care of, do you have a checklist of things you want to get done immediately as you look down the road to where you want to be when summer workouts start and the season kind of gets underway?
Yeah, I mean, each player is going to have his own individual, you know, player development plan, and you know, right now, obviously, the first thing is try to figure out, you know, who our staff is going to be, and identifying players that we want to put offers out to, and those are things that are kind of works in progress, and along with that, I want to get on the floor with our players. And I told them last night that, you know, I don't know if one guy can do it right now, but I'm going to try to get out there with them as quick as possible and put them through some drills and such. So, but yeah, we'll have a player development plan for each guy, and you know, really the bulk of our work's going to come in our 2 5-week segments over summer sessions.
Hey, Eric, I had a question about the home team here. Your wife, Danielle, she's been in the business, in the industry. What's her importance in your life, and maybe even dealing in settings like this?
Yeah, I mean, my wife plays a humongous part in everything we do. I mean, you know, at Nevada, we really felt like it was a true family atmosphere. My wife will come by practices. You know, she'll stick her head in the locker room after a game and congratulate guys, or if somebody's down, she'll say something to them outside the locker room, and you know, she's as much a part of our program as I am, except during the 40 minutes of the game. She has a huge impact. She's going to have a huge impact recruiting. I think it's really important that our recruits' parents meet my wife and feel her passion for, you know, because she kind of looks at them all as an extension of her kids as well. And you know, she'll also tell me, like, hey, lay off so-and-so, like, he's really trying hard. So she sticks up for the players a lot more than she sticks up for me.
Coach, could you talk a little bit about your philosophies when it comes to social media, getting your brand out there, and also with the early or the late period, I guess, just 9 days away, do you have any plans to sign anybody? Have you jumped on the ball already in recruiting?
Yeah, I mean, obviously with the NCAA rules, we can't really, you know, talk too much about recruiting, but yeah, we're gonna work hard, you know, to still look at guys that are in this class. So there's no doubt, you know, that's going to happen. What was your other question?
About the branding of the program, the importance of social media.
Well, the great thing about Arkansas is there is a brand, and everybody in the country, when they see that logo, they know what it is. Obviously, from a social media, you know, if anybody followed, you know, what we did at Nevada, I mean, we were trying to create a brand, and we were trying to create who we were. I'll still be probably extremely active on social media because I enjoy it. But having said that, we don't need to do anything. You know, we did some crazy stuff and had some fun on social media, and we'll still have fun, but that logo means a lot, and when people see it, they know what it means, and so I don't think we need to get too outlandish here.
Coach, speaking of social media, I kind of creeped on you from the past few years on your social media account and saw that you had actually quoted Chad Morris a few times when using your social media. Do you have any personal friendship relationship prior to you being hired here? And also, is there a lot of similarities and comparisons maybe between how you guys coach and approach your games respectively?
Well, I just like to study coaches, and I've been studying Coach Morris from afar, so there's no personal thing other than as I was walking in the door, he was, nice enough to say hello, and he gave me a phone call the other night, and but yeah, I love to study coaches, and he's always been intriguing to me from afar, and that's probably why I put some of his quotes out on social media, because I think he's one of the unique coaches to study. Even though it's a different sport, I think you can learn a lot from other coaches.
Eric, I had a multi-part. About how many hours do you think you watch film of these guys?
It's a good question. My wife could probably answer it better. Depends on how many episodes of Empire she watched while I was watching.
Ballpark figure.
I'd say probably 20 so far.
About 20 hours?
Yeah.
Okay. And then watching all that film, talking with the guys, how do you feel like the talent that's here fits what you want to do? And I assume you want to do a lot of NBA stuff with your background.
Yeah, I think that for us, or for any coach, you got to get to know your players. And I remember Chuck Daly saying, that you never know a player till you actually coach him. And so we've watched all this film, but I have to kind of figure out how the pieces fit together, and that's why I continually bring up this 5-week period. So many college programs just do individual work in the summer. We're going to have to do a lot of team stuff to try to get to know each other. I mean, everything's obviously new, and because of that, we're going to have to be in team environments and team settings, and it's going to be a work in progress. I mean, I think that your team should improve during the course of the season as well, especially with the new coaching staff. I know, like at Nevada, we got so much better those first 3 years as the season wore on. We always hit our peak in March, and so that I think that when you're new, I don't really know exactly how the pieces will fit yet.
And you said you ran out 5 miles or whatever when Hunter called you. What was it like, I guess, a week or so wait, and then obviously he was talking to some other guys. I mean, what was that like, and how tough was that?
I mean, it's hard on my family. I've been around the business so much, but the great thing is the communication with Hunter. And I think you're coaching in the NBA. Your success as a head coach is how do you get along with ownership and your relationship with general managers, and at the collegiate level, how does a head coach and his athletic director, how is their relationship? And the thing that was like so exciting is the more I talked to Hunter, the more I was like, I really want to work for him, and so the wait was, a day seems like a week seems like a month. But having said all that, I've been a part of, basketball for so long. It's probably a little bit harder on your family, but well worth the wait for sure.
The SEC, it's more competitive than the Mountain West. What challenges do you anticipate facing getting back into the tournament, and how do you overcome those?
Well, I think there's obviously, in the Mountain West only, in the last couple years, 3 out of the last 4 years, really only 1 or 2 teams gets in. It's a lot different in the SEC. Multiple teams get into the tournament. So along with, more competition and a tougher conference is also the fact that you're getting more teams into the NCAA. So obviously great coaches, and there's been a lot of changes already in the league and with coaches. And so you're dealing with really talented rosters and excellent coaches. But, again, I think that we're ready for the challenge.
Reaching out to Corey Beck, what triggered that? And I guess y'all way back in the CBA had some nice little battles, but calling it 115 is a little odd.
I do a lot of odd things. I'm not sure if it was 115. I know it lasted until about 115. But Corey was, playing against him, he was an incredible, fierce competitor. And, I was looking at different recruiting lists. I was looking at, assistant coach possibilities, and all of a sudden I got a text from Patrick Beverly, and that kind of spurred me to put the other stuff aside, and I tried to get a hold of Corliss, and we were going back and forth through text, and he had just landed in a city which they had played last night, so that shows you how late it was that I was dealing with Corliss, because they had to get to their next city. But I think it's important. I want to connect with former players, because there's just, there's so much history, and Corey was just a guy that I had great respect for playing against him.
Hey, Coach, welcome. You touched on it a little bit out there, but will you reiterate your coaching style and maybe a little bit as to how your dad played into your philosophy?
Interestingly, we play exactly the opposite of my dad's teams. My dad was, a great defensive coach, and they played really, really slow on offense. And so when I was sitting on his bench as an assistant coach with the Timberwolves, I was like yawning, like, Dad, let's score some transition baskets. And so I just kind of started forming my own philosophy on trying to create a system and a style that fans would want to be a part of, that coaches would want to be a part of, and especially at the collegiate level. Like, the bottom line is you've got to get your recruits excited and want to play in your system. And so that's how we've come up with this pace and space type of offense.
We've got time for two more. We'll start with Matt.
I would assume at Nevada you had some opportunities to leave there, given your success. How many opportunities would you say you've had to leave there, and what made Arkansas different than maybe some of the other schools that had approached you?
Well, again, I think that it started with, with Hunter. When Hunter and John walked in the room, and the more we talked, the more excited I became, and then you start diving into, the history, and you start looking online at the facilities, and you talk to other coaches, and you ask other coaches that have coached in the SEC, their thoughts, and same thing keeps coming up. It's one of the best jobs in the country. It's one of the best jobs in the country. It's one of the best jobs in the country. And I was really happy at Nevada. I loved my administration. When I made the phone call to let them know about this, it was a hard conversation. I cried like a baby when I told them. When I met with my team, it was really, really hard. But this is an opportunity just too good to pass up, especially with all my family dynamics and how we felt as a unit, as a family unit. We felt like this was, the best opportunity that I've been presented with. And yeah, there were others that didn't make sense, and this one made perfect sense for us.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but you have an impressive resume.
Everything's gone good so far, Steve.
Okay.
You sure?
Here we go. First of all, your many jobs are well documented. Does it make it easier for you than another coach, the fact that you've been in change so much? And then if you can dial back in your mind, I know your dad had like 15 jobs. How many homes, apartments do you think you've lived in the entirety of, you can go back to 6 or 7 year olds when you remember.
I don't know how many homes I lived in, but it was a lot. The thing is, I think especially, when you've coached different levels and different places, I don't feel uncomfortable. I didn't feel uncomfortable last night talking to our guys. I'm not going to feel uncomfortable the first practice we have, probably because I have been at a lot of different places. And, early in my career, it was always moving up the ladder, and I was quickly ascended up to some really good jobs. And having said that, yeah, I think it will help. And I wish I could tell you the number of homes I lived in, but I really couldn't do that. I don't know.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll excuse
Thanks.
Coach.